What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Adventure Force Jurassic Pro. This blaster by Dart Zone is a high-powered spring-action side prime magazine-fed blaster that shoots both short darts and long darts, very similar to the Nexus Pro and Max Striker. And it's also a prop-style blaster to look like a trank gun from the Jurassic World movies. Very interesting mix of a prop-style blaster with high performance. Let's get into the review. Included is the blaster disassembled, sight, long dart mag, short dart mag, mag adapter, short darts, long darts, and instructions. Assembly is really straightforward. External overview of this blaster, starting up at the front. There's no in-strike barrel lug, but it does come with this really intimidating muzzle brake, or what they call a muzzle brake, and it's removable if you don't like it. So if you like this cosmetic better, you can slide it on and off. It does not have an impact on performance. And behind the brake is a very long barrel. It's much thicker than a lot of faux barrels, so it doesn't have that much of an impact on performance. But this is a removable barrel, so you can turn the barrel, then pull out, and it's removable. And you can shoot the blaster just fine. There's no lock to disable the blaster or anything like that. This is a Dart Zone blaster after all. I think the blaster looks kind of weird without it, but you can take the barrel off for storage, which is super convenient. And to put that back on, you can just push it on and it turns into place. Moving back underneath here, we have a tiny little tactical rail. And up on top of the blaster, we have a much longer tactical rail. Now moving up to the sighting system, it uses iron sights with a fake red dot. You can move the front sight up and down to get it out of your way, and you can also slide it completely off the rail. And this sight corresponds with the rear iron sight and this component here. So you look through this loop, line it up with that peg, and then take your shot. But the rear part of the sight is also made to look like a red dot optic. There's no glass, there's no batteries or any illumination. It's just the shell to make it look like a red dot. But as far as prop optics go, it does really resemble the thing in the movie. Anyways, also built into the rail is an unjamming button, which I'll get to in a moment. Moving down to the priming handle, this is a side prime blaster. To prime this one, you pull back and then push forward manually. The prime strength required is way harder than normal Nerf blasters, but this is a high velocity blaster shooting over 120 feet per second, so obviously that stronger spring requires a stronger prime. And I have the bolt handle installed on the left-hand side, but if you want to remove it, this is a thread-on design. So you can just unscrew it and you can put it into the other side if you want to. Very easy to switch from right and left, so a right and left-handed shooter can pretty much use this blaster equally. So the prime strength is really hard, but it's a relatively smooth prime. Keep in mind, if you're gonna rapid fire shoot this blaster, it does kind of wear your hands out a little bit during prolonged firing experiences. It is not as easy as something like the Ion Pro, which has a similar power output. The Ion Pro is much easier to run for hours and hours at a time. So after you prime this blaster once, you're not able to prime it again, but Dart Zone has installed a little unjam button right here. It's integrated into the rail and it's kind of hard to see, but after you prime, you can pull this back, which unlocks that slide. So you're able to shotgun load more than one dart if you want to with kind of spotty performance, but it also helps you clear out certain types of jams and malfunctions. However, I did not experience any major jams or malfunctions with this blaster. Moving down to the magazine, to remove the magazine, you strike the magazine release right here, and that is on the center line of the blaster, so a right and left-handed shooter can use it equally. Full ambi, bro! So to pull that mag, you can use your offhand thumb to activate that mag release as you pull the mag out. This blaster comes with two different magazines, a long dart magazine and a short dart magazine. Both magazines hold 12 darts. Obviously, the long dart is for elite darts or normal darts, and the short mag is for the short length darts. When you use the standard magazine, you can put that right into the magwell like any other magwell. But when you want to use the short dart magazine, you have to use the adapter, which is included with the blaster. So this adapter goes into the magwell in replace of the big magazine, so then you can put the short magazine into that adapter. So then when you want to reload the short magazine, you don't strike the normal mag release here, you strike the big flappy one here, which keeps the adapter into the blaster, so then you can just use short length magazines. This is the same magazine system as the Nexus Pro and the other high level blasters made by Dart Zone. And most of my testing with this blaster was with Worker Talon magazines, which work just fine. Nothing wrong with the Dart Zone magazines, they're just not as good as their competition. I like Nerf magazines for full length and Worker for the half length. But the magwell is compatible with a whole lot, and especially with the full length magazines. The Nexus Pro and the Max Striker are not compatible with a lot of Nerf brand magazines. They modified the magwell, so this is compatible with every Nerf magazine that I tried it with, including the drums. Yeah, that looks ridiculous, but you can do it if you want to. I sure hope they update the Nexus Pro magwell to be as compatible as the Jurassic Pro, because the Nexus Pro is not compatible with a bunch of the Nerf magazines that I want to use. But the Jurassic Pro is compatible with 18-round stick mags and all the drums I tried, which is awesome to see. Dart Zone is listening to what we want out of their products. That's awesome. That is the magazine and the magazine well. Moving back, right in front of the trigger here, we have a safety. When it's protruding on this side, it's safe, so you cannot pull the trigger. Then you push that in. and you're able to fire. Moving back to the trigger pull is pretty normal. This blaster does not have slam fire. It does have a flatter face instead of the round trigger like the Nexus Pro and the other Dart Zone blasters up in this performance range. Moving down to the grip, overall, I'd say this feels more like a normal Dart Zone grip rather than a lot of the pro level grips that they have, meaning it's a little bit smaller and a little more kid-friendly rather than adult-friendly. It's not as filleted or smooth. It seems a little chunky and blocky. It's not really my style. It's not objectively bad or anything, but compared to the Ion Pro, Nexus Pro, and Max Striker, which have amazing grips, this just falls short compared to those. Now moving back to the stock. This is a removable stock, so you can remove it by pushing in this button and this one, then pulling down, and the stock comes right out. It's designed to snap off. I'm not really sure if it's really for tactical reasons, but just for transportation and storage, it's really convenient. When you pull the stock off and the barrel off, now this can go into any little storage tote where all your other Nerf blasters are stored. A lot of these really big blasters are just getting outrageously inconvenient to store. I really like collapsible stuff like this. But that stock is removable, however, it is not an adjustable stock. This is the length that it is. Has this cool little mosquito thing built into it, but other than that, nothing else to manipulate or control in the stock. Now, one very serious complaint about the stock is it is extremely flimsy. It reminds me of the original Modulus stock. So when you shoulder prime this blaster, there's a great deal of flex in the stock right there. If this were a regular velocity Nerf blaster or a flywheeler, it wouldn't be that big a deal, but it's a high-performance springer. So you're cranking back a really strong spring, and you're going to want to use your shoulder to do that. And when you do that, it flexes, which really tears into the play experience. It feels really cheap. That is an external overview of the Jurassic Pro. Now I'll show you this blaster firing. Starting with the included long darts. Now shooting some standard blue Nerf Elite darts. Now shooting some green Dart Zone waffle head darts. These do not work very well, for demonstrative purposes only. Now shooting Adventure Force half-length darts, the short darts that were included with this blaster, using the magazine converter, or adapter. Now shooting Dart Zone half-length darts, which are the red ones. Operating this blaster was pretty fun. It shoots way harder than other prop blasters I've used. A few notes on firing. The biggest annoyance for me was the flexible stock. I shoulder prime this blaster because it's a higher power blaster. The grip isn't super comfortable and there are some sharper ledges, so you don't want to hold it in your hands and rely purely on your firing hand to brace the blaster. You want to put it in your shoulder. That's why there's a stock here. But when you do that, the blaster flexes tremendously. That flex bites into the prime stroke a little bit, so it's not as cool of a prime, and it really just kind of makes the blaster feel cheap. And this is more expensive than the Nexus Pro, so to have a flimsy component on a higher priced blaster seems a little out of place to me. Also, after firing for a long period of time, I did not think this blaster was as comfortable on the hands compared to the Ion Pro. This side bolt action is cool if you're slow firing, but if you're repeatedly firing like that, my hands wore out pretty quickly. The Ion Pro has a more comfortable grip, and the Nexus Pro's grip is even better. You can pump away on that all day and your hands don't get fatigued. Other than those notes, this blaster operated as you would expect. If you've used a Dart Zone Nexus Pro, Max Striker, or Ion Pro, you're already familiar with the magazine system and the expected performance. It's a much higher velocity blaster. If you're comparing this to a long shot or a long strike, it's not even fair. And I didn't experience any major jams or malfunctions with this blaster. Another note on dart compatibility, this uses a compression spring barrel, so it's very finicky on what darts you choose, just like the Nexus Pro, Max Striker, and Ion Pro, because it uses a compression barrel. The included darts worked really well in the blaster, and if you buy this, I would recommend trying to find these darts. I haven't found these long darts sold separately. Dart Zone, get on that. These darts are awesome. I want some more. But when you use standard Dart Zone waffle head darts in this blaster or the Nexus Pro or the other compression barrels, it doesn't feed very consistently, and that's because of the subtle dimension change between these two darts. The included darts have an inset dart head, so when this foam compresses in the barrel, this dart tip, which is rubber, does not slide on the barrel. The standard Dart Zone waffle head dart tip is the same width as the foam, so when the foam tries to compress, the rubber can't as much and it drags on that barrel, leading to inconsistent firing velocity and accuracy. And it really diminishes the play experience, so I really don't recommend you use these. Elite darts actually feed more consistently through this blaster. But as you can see, Elite darts cannot handle this velocity. You're not going to hit anything. That's a really long-winded way of saying just use the included ammo. This dart design is optimized for this barrel. To compare this blaster to others, I put it up on my chronograph. With Adventure Force half-length darts, the ones that are included, 125 feet per second. With Dart Zone red half-length darts, 114 feet per second. With the included long-style darts, 121 feet per second. With Nerf Elite darts, 124 feet per second. And with Dart Zone waffle head darts, 103 feet per second. As I mentioned, these are really unusable. Just giving you this number for comparison. So this blaster is shooting way harder than the Elite par of 70 feet per second. This blaster is up in the same performance range as the Nexus Pro, Max Striker, and Ion Pro. It is a much higher velocity blaster in a whole different class. That's the objective information I can provide of this blaster. Now to my personal opinion. My opinion on this one is a little bit mixed because it's pretty new on the market. It's a high performance prop blaster, which I haven't seen before. As far as the prop part of this blaster goes, they did a really good job. They stayed true to the proportions. They didn't downsize it. They didn't crank around the proportions and make it wonky. It looks cool. It looks like the trank gun from the movie, and that's what you want from a prop style toy. But then when it comes to actually shooting the blaster, I really had a diminished play experience because of this bendy stock. This thing just bends so much, and the flex point is right here in the grip. I don't know if I could go in with epoxy or JB Weld and some like rebar, some small metal bits and strengthen that. I don't know. But as it stands in stock form, it's distractingly bad. However, I personally subjectively really like strong reinforced components. This bend might not be a big issue for you. I might be overstating this a bit. Lastly, my opinion is positive for this blaster as a plinking toy. I had more fun target shooting with this blaster compared to the Nexus Pro because of the deliberately slow rate of fire. It made me slow down and pay attention to each shot rather than just spraying out foam like I do naturally with the Nexus Pro. It's so easy to shoot with a fast rate of fire, why wouldn't you shoot with a fast rate of fire? This one is slower rate of fire, so it made me slow down and really appreciate each shot. So as a target shooter, I actually enjoyed this blaster more than the Nexus Pro. So my personal opinion on this blaster is really mixed and spotty depending on what type of Nerf I'm playing. Prop style replicas, target shooting, competitive shooting, casual shooting, indoor shooting, outdoor shooting, there's too many types nowadays. So my overall opinion on this is fairly positive, but overall mixed. Now to the question to buy or not to buy, and this is where it gets even weirder. If you're a factory class Nerfer shooting unmodified Nerf blasters, this thing shoots too hard for you and your group. It wouldn't be fun for others and it wouldn't be very fair, so I don't recommend it for those people. Then moving to the competitive guys who are shooting at this performance range, this isn't really designed for you either. The rate of fire is too slow. If you use this against a Nexus Pro or a Max Striker, they're gonna stomp you. It's just a faster rate of fire, and I can put more accurate hits down really quickly with the Nexus Pro compared to this one. So low velocity and higher velocity, neither of them should really buy this blaster. This isn't really designed for normal Nerfers or foam flingers. But that gets me to the prop guys. If you're a prop person and you're really big into Jurassic Park or Jurassic World and you want the trank gun from that movie, check this one out. As a prop toy, if you intend to use it as a plinker, it's pretty solid. But a warning to any prop people who aren't super familiar with our hobby, this is a very high velocity blaster. This is not something I would want to be shot with at point blank range or within my house. This velocity range is really intended for outdoor Nerf wars where you're shooting 50, 75 feet away from each other, not point blank inside your house. This blaster will leave little marks on you, like little welts. It's painful up close. So if you're a prop person and you want to joke around and shoot people really close to you and have a good time, this is too powerful for that, which really surprises me. It is the first of its kind, a really high performance prop blaster, and that's kind of for a reason. Most prop blasters in the past have been really weak because prop people don't take this hobby seriously. They're not trying to competitively lay down foam. They want to be able to derp around and shoot their friends without inflicting pain. I mean, it's really interesting to see that they made this, but I'm curious how many people are going to buy it and how many people are going to be happy with it. I almost guarantee some parent is going to buy this for their kid not knowing how powerful it is, and then they're going to shoot their little sister with it, leave a welt, and then think, what the heck, I thought it was just a foam blaster. High performance blasters are super fun, but they have to be used responsibly. And lastly, to buy or not to buy, plinkers. I really think plinkers are going to have a great time with this blaster. I experienced a different emotional response using this blaster blaster compared to the Nexus Pro, even if the firing velocity is similar. The Jurassic Pro slowed down my rate of fire, and it feels more like a sniper rifle. I know it's supposed to be a tranq gun, but it looks also like a sniper rifle. You throw a scope on there, it looks like a flippin' sniper rifle. And you can buy it and use it like that. You don't have to care about Jurassic World at all. You can feel like a sniper if you buy this. So if you're a plinker or a target shooter and you really enjoyed long-range, precise shooting, check this blaster out. It was a blast. I really enjoyed target shooting with this product. I would never bring this blaster into a Nerf war. I'd easily pick the Nexus Pro or Max Striker. That's just more effective. But plinking with this thing was fun. I think that's going to be the major market of this. I really think the prop people that buy it are going to be blown away at the power and a little turned off by the power. So my #1 buy recommendation for this one is for plinkers or target shooters. But hopefully I've laid out all the information you need to make an educated purchase decision on your own. If you'd like to buy one of these, I'll put a purchase link in the description box below. That concludes this video review, and just to be super clear with you bros, this is a re-upload of the same video. You are not crazy. A lot of the shots are the same shots. I only reshot what I absolutely had to. I apologize for rushing my original upload. I made a mistake. I kept referring to this as a sniper rifle because from the mechanical point of view, it kind of is one. But it's obviously a prop style blaster, and I was too harsh on the optics and the overall appearance because they were staying true to the prop. So my bad, I made a mistake. I'll try to do more research before I publish in the future. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, bros, and as always, stay tactical.